As the world quiets and the stars begin to shimmer in the velvet night, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast jungle where ancient whispers drift through the trees. The air is warm, heavy with the scent of earth and moss, and somewhere in the distance, the faint hum of a forgotten city pulses like a heartbeat. This is the world of the Maya, a civilization that wove brilliance into the fabric of time, crafting cities of stone, unlocking the secrets of the stars, and leaving behind a legacy that still stirs the soul. Tonight, as you drift toward sleep, let me guide you through their story, a tale of ingenuity, mystery, and resilience, told in a way that feels like a gentle hand leading you through the mists of history. This video is crafted for those who seek both knowledge and serenity, a journey to lull you into rest while feeding your curiosity about one of humanity's greatest civilizations. The Maya built towering pyramids that pierced the heavens, devised calendars that tracked time with astonishing precision, and created a world where art, science, and spirituality danced in harmony. Their story is not just a collection of dates or events. It's a living tapestry, rich with color and depth, waiting to unfold in your mind as you relax. Before we begin, I'd love to connect with you wherever you are. From what corner of the world are you listening to this tale? Is it late in the evening where you are, with moonlight spilling through your window? Or perhaps early morning, with the first rays of dawn painting your room? Drop a comment below and share the time and place. I'm curious to know where this story finds you. If you enjoy this journey, please give this video a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story. Your support keeps these tales alive, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Hello, my name is Sherry, and welcome to my channel. So let's begin. Picture a world where the earth breathes with life, where the air hums with the chatter of unseen creatures, and the canopy above weaves a tapestry of green so dense it seems to hold secrets older than time itself. This is the cradle of the Maya, a land of jungles and rivers that stretches across what we now call southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and parts of Honduras and El Salvador. Long before their cities rose to pierce the heavens, before their astronomers charted the stars, or their kings claimed divine power, the Maya were a people of the earth, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the forest. As you settle into the quiet of this moment, let's step back to the dawn of their story, to a time when the seeds of a great civilization were first sown in the rich, dark soil of Mesoamerica. It was around 2000 BCE, or perhaps even earlier, when the ancestors of the Maya began to carve out a life in this vibrant, untamed world. They were not a people who sought to conquer the jungle, but to dance with it, learning its ways as one might learn the habits of a wise, ancient friend. The land they chose was no gentle plain. It was a realm of contrasts, where towering ceiba trees stretched toward the sky, their roots clutching the earth like the hands of giants, and where limestone caves hid sacred pools that shimmered in the dark. The Maya called this place home, and it shaped them as much as they shaped it. Their earliest settlements were modest, clusters of thatched homes woven from palm and wood, nestled in clearings where the jungle permitted. These were not yet the grand cities of stone, but they were the first notes of a symphony that would echo through the ages. The jungle was both provider and teacher. Its rivers, like the Usumacinta and the Motagua, offered fish and fertile banks for planting. Its trees bore fruits, mamey, sapodilla, and the sacred cacao, which the Maya would one day grind into a drink they believed carried the breath of the gods. But the jungle also demanded respect. Its rains could swell into floods, its soils could tire, and its creatures, jaguars with eyes like amber, serpents that moved like whispers, reminded the Maya that they were but one part of a vast, living world. From these early days, they learned to observe, to adapt, to see the cycles of growth and decay as a sacred pattern. The maize they planted, its golden kernels sprouting from the earth, became more than food. It was a symbol of life itself, a gift from the gods who, according to their stories, had shaped humanity from corn. These early Maya were not a single people, but many, speaking languages that branched like the rivers they followed, Chalan, Yucatcan, Kayich. Yet they shared a way of seeing the world, a belief that every tree, every stone, every drop of water carried a spirit. Their shamans, those first keepers of wisdom, would sit beneath the stars, reading omens in the flight of birds or the rustle of leaves. They told stories of the Papalva, the sacred book that would later be written down, which spoke of a time when the gods tried and failed to create humans, until they found the perfect material in maize. This was not mere myth to the Maya. It was a truth that pulsed in their veins, tying them to the earth and the cosmos in a bond that would guide their civilization for millennia. As centuries passed, these scattered communities began to grow, their knowledge deepening like roots sinking into the soil. By around 1000 BCE, they were building more permanent homes, crafting tools from obsidian and jade, and trading with neighbors who spoke different tongues, but shared the same reverence for the land. The jungle, with its challenges and gifts, taught them resilience and ingenuity. They learned to burn and clear small patches of forest for farming, a practice called slash and burn, which coaxed life from the earth without breaking its spirit. They dug canals to guide water to their fields and built platforms of earth to lift their homes above the rains. These were the first steps towards something greater, a foundation laid not in conquest, but in harmony. But the jungle held mysteries that stirred the imagination. Deep within its embrace, the Maya found cenotes, natural sinkholes filled with water so clear it seemed to hold the sky itself. These were not just sources of life, but portals to the underworld, places where the gods whispered and the ancestors lingered. The Maya began to build their settlements near these sacred waters, sensing that the land itself was alive, guiding them toward a destiny they could not yet see. By 800 BCE, villages like Kualo and Kalha were thriving, their people weaving baskets, shaping pottery, and trading goods across the lowlands. The seeds of a civilization were taking root, and the jungle, ever watchful, seemed to hum with approval. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine standing in one of those early villages, the air thick with the scent of smoke and earth, the laughter of children mingling with the calls of macaws. The Maya were beginning to dream of something larger, cities that would rise like mountains, temples that would touch the stars. But what would it take to transform these humble beginnings into a civilization that would rival any in the world? What secrets did the jungle still hold, waiting to be uncovered by those who listened to its voice? As the jungle night deepens, imagine the flicker of torchlight casting shadows on a clearing where the Maya gather. The stars above burn brightly, as if urging the people below to reach for them. By 800 BCE, the humble villages of the Maya were stirring with ambition, their roots in the earth giving rise to something new, cities of stone that would stand as testaments to their ingenuity and spirit. These were not mere settlements, but bold declarations of permanence, carved from the heart of the jungle. As you rest, let's wander through the birth of these first cities, where the Maya began to shape their world with hands that worked stone and hearts that dreamed of eternity. The jungle, with its endless cycles of growth and decay, had taught the Maya patience. But now they sought to build something that would endure beyond the seasons. In places like El Mirador, deep in what is now northern Guatemala, the seeds of their ambition took form. Picture a landscape where the earth rises in great platforms, smoothed and leveled by countless hands. Here, the Maya built their first monumental structures, not yet the towering pyramids of later centuries, but vast foundations of packed earth and limestone, strong enough to hold the weight of their dreams. These early cities were not born overnight. They grew slowly, like the ceiba trees that anchored the forest, each layer of stone a promise to the future. El Mirador, often called the cradle of Maya civilization, was a marvel even in its infancy. By 600 BCE, it sprawled across the jungle, its plazas bustling with life. Imagine walking through its heart, where the air hums with the rhythm of labor, men and women hauling limestone from nearby quarries, their hands dusted white, their voices rising in songs to ease the work. The Maya had no beasts of burden, no wheels to lighten their loads. Every stone was carried by human strength, every platform shaped by collective will. This was a society bound by purpose, where the act of building was as sacred as the structures themselves. The stone they used, quarried from the earth's bones, was not just material, but a gift from the gods, hewn with tools of obsidian and flint, polished by hands that understood its weight. These early cities were more than collections of buildings. They were living spaces where the Maya wove their lives into the landscape. Picture a central plaza, its surface smoothed by countless feet, where traders bartered cacao beans and jade, where children darted between stalls, and where priests burned copal incense, its sweet smoke curling toward the sky. Surrounding the plaza were homes, some still thatched, but others now built with stone, their walls adorned with simple carvings of serpents and birds. At the edges of the city, raised fields, called chinempas, cradled maize and squash, their roots fed by canals that snaked through the earth. The Maya were learning to bend the jungle to their needs, not by force, but by understanding its rhythms, coaxing abundance from its depths. The heart of these cities was the sacred precinct, where the Maya began to build structures that reached for the divine. In El Mirador, the great platform known as La Danta rose, its base wider than a modern city block, its height a testament to the Maya's growing confidence. These were not yet the stepped pyramids of later eras, but they were the first steps toward them, massive, flat-topped mounds where priests and leaders stood to address the people, their voices carrying across the gathered crowds. Imagine standing at the base of such a structure, its bulk looming against the twilight, the stone cool beneath your feet. The Maya believed these places were axes mundi, points where earth, sky, and underworld met, and to build them was to align their world with the cosmos. But who were the people who raised these cities? They were farmers and artisans, men and women who worked the fields by day and shaped stone by firelight. They were led by chiefs, not yet the divine kings of later centuries, but leaders chosen for their wisdom and strength, their ability to read the will of the gods in the stars or the flight of a quetzal. These early leaders were builders of community as much as builders of stone, fostering a sense of unity that turned scattered villages into thriving cities. Their names are lost to time, but their work endures in the foundations they laid, in the stories whispered by the stones. The labor of building was immense, yet it was a labor of love. The Maya did not see their work as toil, but as an offering, a way to honor the gods who had given them maize and water, earth and sky. Families worked together, passing stones hand to hand, their laughter mingling with the clink of tools. Children learned the craft from their parents, their small hands shaping clay or carrying water to mix mortar. Women wove textiles to trade for tools, their patterns telling stories of creation and renewal. Every stone placed, every platform raised, was a step toward something greater, a city that would stand for generations, a legacy that would speak to the stars. Yet even as these cities rose, the jungle remained ever present, its vines creeping at the edges, its rains testing the strength of every wall. The Maya knew their creations were not separate from the natural world, but part of it, a dialogue between human hands and the earth's spirit. They built with care, aligning their structures with the paths of the sun and stars, ensuring that their cities were not just places to live, but sacred spaces that mirrored the cosmos. This harmony would define them, setting the stage for the brilliance that was to come. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, imagine the glow of a Maya city at dusk, its stone platforms catching the last light of the sun. The people gather in the plaza, their voices soft, their eyes lifted to the sky. They are beginning to understand the stars, to see in their patterns a map of time itself. But what secrets would the heavens reveal to a people so attuned to the world's rhythms? What knowledge would they uncover as their cities grew and their ambitions soared? As the jungle settles into the hush of night, imagine lying on a woven mat in the heart of an early Maya city, the air warm and fragrant with the scent of blooming flowers. Above you, the sky unfurls like a vast scroll, its stars glittering with a clarity that feels like a message from the divine. For the Maya, this celestial canopy was not just a backdrop, but a living map, a guide to time, seasons, and the will of the gods. By 600 BCE, as their cities grew in stone and ambition, the Maya turned their gaze upward, becoming master sky watchers, whose understanding of the cosmos would shape their civilization for centuries. As you relax into this moment, let's drift into the world of the Maya astronomers, where the stars whispered secrets and the night sky became a canvas of knowledge. The Maya saw the heavens as a sacred realm, a place where the gods danced and the cycles of life were written. To them, every star, every planet, every flicker of light held meaning. They observed the sky with a precision that rivaled any ancient culture, their eyes trained on the movements of Venus, the Pleiades, and the great arc of the Milky Way, which they called the cosmic tree, a bridge between Earth and the divine. In cities like El Mirador and Nakb, priests and scholars, men and women with minds as sharp as obsidian, would climb to the tops of stone platforms, their silhouettes stark against the twilight. To track these celestial journeys, they carried no telescopes, no computers, only their keen observation and a deep belief that the sky was a mirror of the Earth's fate. These early astronomers developed a system of calendars that wove time into a tapestry of extraordinary complexity. Picture a Maya scholar, his fingers tracing lines in the dust, calculating the cycles of the sun and moon. The Maya created multiple calendars, each serving a purpose as vital as the maize in their fields. The Tzolk'in, a 260-day ritual calendar, governed ceremonies and divinations, its rhythm tied to the human body and the sacred cycles of creation. The Hab, a 365-day solar calendar, tracked the seasons for planting and harvest, aligning the Maya's labor with the Earth's turning. Together, these calendars formed the calendar round, a 52-year cycle that marked the passage of generations, each turn a celebration of renewal. Imagine the anticipation in a Maya city as the calendar round neared its end, the people gathering under torchlight, their voices raised in chants to honor the gods who kept time in motion. But the Maya's genius went beyond these cycles. They developed the long count, a calendar that stretched across millennia, counting days from a mythical starting point they placed in 3114 BCE. This was no mere tool for tracking time. It was a way to anchor their story in the vastness of the cosmos. Picture a scribe carving a date into stone, each glyph a precise record of a moment in history, a king's birth, a city's founding, a star's alignment. The long count allowed the Maya to think in epics, to see their lives as part of a grand narrative that spanned creation itself. Their calculations were so precise that modern scholars marvel at their accuracy, achieved without instruments, only the naked eye and a mind attuned to patterns. The stars were not just markers of time, but guides for life. Venus, the morning and evening star, held special significance, its cycles tied to warfare and sacrifice. The Maya watched its appearances with reverence, believing it signaled the will of the gods. In their myths, Venus was linked to the hero twins of the Popol Vuh, who battled the lords of the underworld, their triumphs mirrored in the planet's journey across the sky. Imagine a warrior priest standing atop a platform, his eyes fixed on Venus's first light, interpreting its rise as a call to action or a moment of peace. The Pleiades, too, were sacred, their appearance marking the time to plant maize, a signal from the heavens to begin the cycle of growth. These observations were not the work of a single mind, but of a community of knowledge. In every city, there were those trained to read the sky: priests, nobles, and even commoners who passed down their wisdom through generations. They used simple tools, crossed sticks to measure angles, stone markers to align with celestial events. At sites like Uaxactun, the Maya built observatories, their structures aligned with the solstices and equinoxes, turning their cities into living calendars. Picture the solstice dawn, the sun rising exactly between two stone pillars, its light spilling across a plaza filled with awestruck onlookers. These moments were not just scientific triumphs, but spiritual ones, proof that the Maya were in harmony with the cosmos. This reverence for the sky shaped their art and rituals. Carvings on stone stelae depicted gods holding celestial symbols, their faces serene yet powerful. Temples were built to mirror the heavens, their steps climbing toward the stars like a ladder to the divine. The Maya believed that by understanding the sky, they could commune with the gods, ensuring the balance of their world. Yet, this knowledge also carried a weight. What did it mean to know the future, to see the cycles of time stretching forward? The Maya did not fear this question, but embraced it. Their calendars, a way to navigate the unknown with courage. As you drift deeper into the quiet of this night, imagine the Maya sky watcher, his eyes tracing the path of a comet, his heart full of wonder and responsibility. The stars above told a story of creation, of cycles that bound the past to the future. But as the cities grew and the people thrived, What was life like in the bustling heart of a Maya city? What rhythms pulsed through the streets and plazas, where the sky's wisdom met the earth's abundance? As the stars fade into the soft glow of dawn, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a Maya city in its prime, around 250 CE, when the classic period began to bloom. The jungle hums with life, but here, in the heart of a place like Tikal or Calakmul, the air is alive with a different energy. The chatter of voices, the clatter of tools, the scent of maize tortillas sizzling over open fires. This is the pulse of the Maya urban world, a vibrant tapestry of human lives woven together in stone plazas and shaded courtyards. As you ease into the calm of this moment, let's walk through the streets of a Maya city, where every corner tells a story of community, creativity, and connection to the divine. Picture the city at first light, the sun casting golden rays across a sprawling landscape of pyramids, temples, and homes. The central plaza, smoothed by generations of footsteps, is the beating heart of this world. It's a place where people gather, their voices rising like a gentle tide, merchants calling out their wares, children laughing as they chase each other, priests chanting softly as they prepare for rituals. The plaza is framed by towering structures, their limestone faces carved with images of gods and ancestors, catching the light in a way that makes them seem almost alive. These are not cold monuments, but living spaces where the Maya come to trade, worship, and share their lives. Step into the marketplace, where the air is thick with the aroma of cacao, chili, and roasted corn. Merchants sit beneath woven awnings, their stalls piled high with goods. Baskets of vibrant feathers from quetzals and macaws, gleaming obsidian blades, and pottery painted with scenes of myths and harvests. Imagine a woman, her hands deftly weaving a textile dyed with indigo and cochineal, bartering it for a string of jade beads. Nearby, a farmer offers maize and beans, his face weathered but proud, knowing his crops sustain the city. The market is a symphony of exchange, not just of goods, but of stories, gossip, and laughter, binding the people in a web of shared purpose. Beyond the plaza, the city stretches into neighborhoods where homes of stone and thatch nestle beneath the jungle's edge. The elite live in grand compounds, their walls adorned with murals of celestial battles, their courtyards filled with the scent of blooming frangipani. But even the homes of commoners hum with life. Families gather to eat, children learn to grind maize or carve wood, and elders share tales of the gods. Imagine a young girl, her fingers stained with clay, shaping a pot under her mother's watchful eye, or a boy practicing with a blowgun, aiming at a target to hone his skill. These homes are not just shelters, but centers of learning, where traditions are passed down like treasures. The Maya city is a place of balance, where the sacred and the everyday intertwine. Temples rise at the city's core, their steps leading to platforms where priests perform rituals to honor the gods of rain, sun, and maize. Picture a ceremony at dusk, the air heavy with copal smoke, its sweet scent mingling with the chants of priests draped in jaguar pelts. The people gather below, their faces lit by torchlight, offering maize and flowers to ensure the gods' favor. These rituals are not distant spectacles, but communal acts where every person, from farmer to noble, plays a role in keeping the world in harmony. Daily life is shaped by the rhythms of the land and sky. Farmers rise early to tend fields of maize, squash, and beans, their plots carefully tended with terraces and canals to capture the jungle's rains. Women weave and cook, their work as vital as any warriors, while artisans carve intricate designs into stone or craft jewelry from jade and shell. Even children contribute, carrying water or gathering firewood, their small hands part of the city's heartbeat. Imagine the sound of a conch shell horn, signaling the start of a festival, drawing families from their homes to dance and sing under the stars, their movements echoing the cycles of the cosmos. Yet life in the city is not without its challenges. The jungle, ever present, tests the Maya's resilience. Rains can turn paths to mud, and droughts can parch the fields. Disease, too, lurks in the humid air, a reminder of the gods' power. But the Maya meet these trials with ingenuity, building reservoirs to store water, curing ailments with herbs like copal and cacao, and turning to their priests to read omens in the stars. Their cities are not just places of survival, but of celebration, where every challenge overcome is a testament to their strength. As you wander through this imagined city, picture the faces of its people, farmers with calloused hands, artisans with eyes bright with creativity, children dreaming of the future. They are bound by a shared belief that their city is a sacred space, a reflection of the cosmos on earth. The pyramids, the plazas, the rituals, all are part of a greater whole, a world where human and divine walk hand in hand. But at the heart of this world are the rulers, men and women who claim the mantle of the gods themselves. Who were these divine kings, and how did their power shape the Maya's destiny? As the evening deepens and the jungle hums with the soft chorus of night creatures, imagine standing in the shadow of a great Maya pyramid, its stone steps climbing toward a sky ablaze with stars. In the heart of a city like Tikal or Palenque, around 250 CE, the air carries the weight of reverence. For here, in the sacred precinct, walks a figure who is both man and myth, a divine king, chosen by the gods to bridge the earthly and the celestial. The Maya called their rulers Ajo, lords who bore the weight of divinity, their every action a thread in the tapestry of cosmic order. As you settle into the gentle rhythm of this tale, let's step into the world of these god kings, whose lives and legacies shaped the Maya civilization with a power that echoed beyond the jungle. The concept of divine kingship was the cornerstone of Maya society, a belief that their rulers were not mere mortals, but living embodiments of the gods. Picture a coronation ceremony at dawn, the plaza filled with people, their faces painted with ochre and blue, their eyes fixed on a young man ascending the temple steps. He is adorned with a headdress of quetzal feathers, their iridescent green catching the first light, and a jade pendant rests against his chest, symbolizing the breath of life. As he raises his arms, the crowd falls silent, for this is no ordinary leader. He is the axis of the world, chosen to intercede with the gods, to ensure the rains fall, the crops grow, and the stars remain in their courses. These kings were more than rulers. They were the heart of the city's spiritual life. Their blood was sacred, and through rituals of sacrifice, they offered it to the gods to maintain the balance of the cosmos. Imagine a king, perhaps Yax Suk, the legendary founder of Tikal, standing atop a temple, his hand pierced with a stingray spine, droplets of blood falling onto bark paper to be burned as an offering. The smoke rises, carrying prayers to Chak, the rain god, or Kainish Ajo, the sun god, whose favor was essential for the city's survival. These acts were not mere ceremony, but a profound responsibility, a pact between the ruler and the divine to protect the people from drought, war, or chaos. The lives of these kings were steeped in grandeur, but also in duty. They lived in palaces of stone, their walls carved with scenes of conquest and creation, their courtyards shaded by flowering trees. Picture a palace in Palenque, where King Pakal the Great, one of the most renowned Maya rulers, might have walked. His home is a maze of chambers, each adorned with stucco reliefs of gods and ancestors, their eyes seeming to watch over him. Servants move quietly, bearing trays of cacao and tamales, while scribes record the king's deeds on bark paper, their glyphs preserving his name for eternity. Yet, even in this splendor, the king's life was not his own. Every decision, from marriage to warfare, was guided by the will of the gods, read in the stars or the omens of the jungle. Queens, too, held power, sometimes as regents or co-rulers, their influence as vital as their male counterparts. Imagine Lady Six Sky of Naranjo, a warrior queen who led her city to victory in the 7th century CE. Her image, carved on a stela, shows her standing tall, her headdress adorned with the symbols of the moon goddess, her presence commanding respect. She was a mother, a strategist, and a conduit to the divine, proving that the Maya saw strength in both men and women who carried the gods' favor. These rulers, king or queen, were the linchpins of their cities, their authority rooted in a lineage that traced back to the creation myths of the Popol Vuh, where the gods shaped humanity from maize. The divine kings did not rule alone. They were surrounded by a court of nobles, priests, and advisors who helped weave the fabric of governance. Priests interpreted the stars and conducted rituals, ensuring the king's actions aligned with the cosmos. Nobles managed trade and oversaw the labor that built temples and fields, their loyalty cemented by marriage alliances and shared rituals. Picture a council meeting in a torchlit chamber, the air heavy with incense, as the king listens to a priest recounting a vision from the night sky, or a noble describing a rival city's movements. These discussions shaped the fate of the city, balancing diplomacy, warfare, and devotion. Yet, the life of a divine king was not without peril. Rival city-states, like Calakmul and Tikal, vied for dominance, their kings leading armies into the jungle to capture prisoners or secure tribute. A king's failure in battle, in ritual, or in securing the gods' favor could spell disaster, shaking the faith of the people. Imagine the tension in a city as news arrives of a rival's approach. The king consulting oracles, offering sacrifices to ensure victory. Success brought glory, with captives paraded through the plaza, and new stelae erected to proclaim the king's triumphs. Defeat, however, could mean capture or death. The king's blood offered not to his own gods, but to those of his enemies. As you drift closer to sleep, picture a Maya king standing alone on his palace rooftop, the city quiet below, the stars above a reminder of his divine burden. He is both powerful and vulnerable, a man who carries the weight of his people's hopes. The jungle whispers around him, its secrets locked in stone and story. But what beauty did these kings and their people create to honor their gods? What artistry flowed from their hands, turning stone and clay into eternal tales. As the night wraps you in its gentle embrace, imagine standing in the heart of a Maya city like Kapan or Palenque, around 600 CE, where the air hums with the quiet rhythm of creation. The jungle is alive with the calls of howler monkeys. But here, in the sacred precinct, artisans shape the very soul of the Maya into stone, clay, and vibrant pigment. Their art is not mere decoration, but a language of the divine, a way to capture the stories of gods, kings, and cosmos in forms that would speak for centuries. As you drift toward sleep, let's wander through the world of Maya art, where every carving and color tells a tale of beauty, belief, and the human spirit. Picture a stela, a towering slab of limestone rising from a plaza, its surface carved with intricate glyphs and figures that seem to dance in the flickering torchlight. These stone monuments, often erected to honor a king's reign or a cosmic event, are the Maya's canvas for eternity. Imagine the artisan at work, his hands steady as he wields an obsidian tool, chipping away at the stone to reveal the face of a ruler, perhaps King Jasa Chan Kayawil of Tikal. His headdress adorned with quetzal feathers, his eyes gazing into the distance as if seeing the gods themselves. The glyphs beside him record his deeds, battles won, temples built, sacrifices offered, each symbol a brushstroke in the Maya's story of their world. The artistry of the Maya was not confined to stone. In the palaces of Palenque, walls come alive with stucco reliefs, their surfaces molded into scenes of myth and history. Picture a mural depicting the maize god, his youthful face framed by corn leaves, his hands offering life to the people. The stucco is smooth, almost luminous, shaped by artisans who mixed lime and clay with a precision that made their creations glow under the sun. These reliefs were not just art, but sacred narratives, reminding the Maya that their kings were part of a divine lineage, born from the gods who shaped the world from maize and blood. Color was the heartbeat of Maya art, a vibrant pulse that brought their creations to life. Imagine a temple chamber in Bonampak, its walls covered in murals painted with pigments drawn from the earth, red from hematite, blue from indigo plants, green from malachite. These murals depict a world in motion. Warriors in jaguarskin armor, musicians playing drums and flutes, nobles dancing in a ritual to honor the gods. The colors are so vivid, even centuries later, that they seem to breathe, telling stories of triumph and devotion. Picture a painter, her hands stained with pigment, carefully blending colors to capture the glint of a jade pendant or the shimmer of a quetzal's tail. Her work is a prayer, an offering to the gods who watch from the heavens. Ceramics, too, were a canvas for the Maya's imagination. In workshops across the city, potters shaped clay into vessels that were both functional and sacred. Imagine a vase, its surface painted with scenes of the Papal, the hero twins battling the lords of Xibalba, their figures rendered in bold black and red against a cream background. These vessels were not just for daily use, but for rituals, holding cacao for the elite or offerings for the dead. Some were buried with nobles, their surfaces etched with glyphs that told of their owner's journey to the underworld. Picture a potter at his wheel, his hands guiding the clay as he hums a song of creation, knowing his work will carry the Maya's stories into eternity. Jade, the stone of life, was the Maya's most cherished medium. Artisans carved it into pendants, masks, and ear flares, each piece a symbol of divine power. Imagine a mask crafted for a king, its green surface polished to a mirror-like sheen, its eyes inlaid with shell and obsidian to mimic a living gaze. Such a mask, like the one found with King Pakal in Palenque, was not just adornment, but a portal to the divine, worn in rituals to channel the god's presence. The artisans who worked jade were revered, their skill a gift from the gods. For jade was rare, its quarries hidden deep in the jungle, its carving a labor of patience and precision. The Maya's art was deeply tied to their beliefs, every piece a reflection of their worldview. Temples were adorned with carvings of the cosmic tree, its branches reaching to the heavens, its roots plunging to the underworld, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. Glyphs, too, were art, their elegant curves and lines forming a script that captured the Maya's history and myths. Imagine a scribe, his reed pen dipped in black ink, carefully inscribing a codex with the story of a king's ascension, each glyph a work of beauty as much as knowledge. These codices, though few survived the ravages of time, were treasures, their pages folded like accordion pleats, filled with the wisdom of the ages. The creation of art was a communal act, a labor of love that bound the city together. Artisans worked in workshops, their skills passed down through generations, from master to apprentice. Families contributed, women weaving textiles that rivaled paintings in their intricacy, men carving wood into masks for ceremonies. Even children played a role, gathering clay or grinding pigments, their small hands part of the city's creative pulse. Imagine the pride of an artisan as he unveils a new stela, the crowd gathering to marvel at its beauty, their murmurs a chorus of awe and gratitude. Yet, as the Maya poured their hearts into these creations, their art also carried a weight of responsibility. Each piece was a dialogue with the gods, a way to ensure the world's balance. The artisans knew their work would outlive them, speaking to future generations of the Maya's brilliance. But what other ways did they preserve their stories? What secrets did they etch into the very fabric of their cities, waiting to be read by those who came after? As the night deepens and the jungle whispers its ancient lullaby, imagine sitting in a dimly lit chamber in a Maya city like Capan, around 700 CE, where the flicker of torchlight dances across walls carved with intricate symbols. These are not mere decorations, but glyphs, the written language of the Maya, a script that captures their history, beliefs, and dreams in elegant curves and lines. In a world where few civilizations mastered writing, the Maya created a system so sophisticated it could sing of kings, gods, and the stars themselves. As you sink into the calm of this moment, let's explore the art of the Maya script, a legacy etched in stone, and bark that speaks of a people determined to be remembered. Picture a scribe, his fingers stained with ink, hunched over a sheet of bark paper smoothed with lime. He holds a reed pen, its tip dipped in black pigment made from charcoal and plant sap, and with careful strokes, he crafts glyphs that tell the story of a king's victory or a celestial alignment. The Maya writing system, one of the few fully developed scripts in the pre-Columbian Americas, was a marvel of complexity, capable of recording not just events, but emotions, myths, and the very rhythm of time. Each glyph is a work of art, a combination of images and symbols that could represent sounds, words, or entire ideas, woven together like threads in a tapestry. The glyphs were everywhere in a Maya city, carved on stele, painted on pottery, inscribed on the walls of temples and palaces. Imagine standing before a towering monument in Tikal, its surface covered with rows of glyphs that recount the life of a ruler, perhaps Jasa Chan Kayawil, who led his city to triumph over rivals. The glyphs tell of his birth under a specific star, his coronation on a sacred date, and his offerings to the gods, each symbol a precise record of time and deed. To the Maya, writing was not just a tool, but a sacred act, a way to anchor their story in the cosmos, ensuring their voices would echo long after their cities fell silent. The scribes who crafted these glyphs were revered, their skills honed through years of training. Often from noble families, they were both scholars and artists, their minds filled with the knowledge of calendars, myths, and rituals. Picture a young scribe, perhaps a woman, learning under the watchful eye of her mentor, memorizing the hundreds of glyphs that made up the Maya script. She practices on scraps of bark, her hand steadying as she draws the symbol for sky or jaguar, each one a small masterpiece. Her work is not just for the present, but for the future, a record that will speak to generations yet unborn. The Maya wrote on many surfaces, but their most precious texts were codices, books made of folded bark paper coated with stucco. Imagine a codex, its pages filled with vibrant paintings and glyphs, detailing astronomical tables, ritual schedules, or the myths of the Papalva. These books were treasures, kept in temples or palaces, consulted by priests and kings to guide their decisions. Tragically, most were destroyed by Spanish conquerors centuries later, but the few that survive, like the Dresden Codex, reveal the depth of Maya knowledge, from star charts to prophecies, written in a script that dances with life. Writing was not just for the elite. It was a bridge between the human and the divine. Glyphs adorned everyday objects, from pottery to jewelry, telling stories of their owners or invoking the gods' protection. Imagine a ceramic vessel, its surface painted with glyphs that name its owner, a noblewoman, and describe a ritual she performed to honor the maize god. Even in death, writing played a role. Tombs were inscribed with glyphs to guide the soul through the underworld, ensuring safe passage to the ancestors. Picture a sarcophagus, like that of King Pakal in Palenque, its lid carved with a scene of the king descending to Xibalba, surrounded by glyphs that tell of his eternal journey. The Maya script was also a tool of power, used by kings to proclaim their legitimacy and victories. In cities like Yaxchilan, lintels above doorways bear glyphs that celebrate military triumphs or royal marriages, each one a public declaration of strength. Imagine a crowd gathered in a plaza, listening as a priest reads aloud from a stela, the glyphs weaving a tale of their king's divine right to rule. These inscriptions were not just records, but propaganda, crafted to inspire awe and loyalty, binding the people to their leaders and their gods. Yet the script was also a labor of love, a way for the Maya to preserve their identity. Scribes worked in workshops, their tools simple, but their creations profound. They mixed pigments from minerals and plants, their colors vivid even after centuries. They carved with obsidian and flint, their hands steady despite the stone's resistance. Imagine the pride of a scribe as he completes a stela, knowing his work will stand in the plaza, a testament to his people's greatness. His glyphs are a conversation with the future, a whisper from the past that says, "We were here and we mattered." As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, picture that scribe, his chamber quiet save for the scratch of his pen, the torchlight casting shadows that seem to move with the spirits of the ancestors. The glyphs he writes are more than words. They are the soul of the Maya, etched into the world's memory. But beyond the quiet work of scribes, there was another arena where the Maya expressed their passion and devotion, a place where sport and ritual met in a dance of life and death. What was this sacred game that echoed through their cities? As the jungle night wraps you in its soothing embrace, imagine standing in the heart of a Maya city like Chichen Itza, around 800 CE, where the air thrums with anticipation. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across a stone court flanked by high walls, their surfaces carved with images of warriors and gods. This is the sacred ball court, the stage for the Maya Ballgame, a contest that was far more than sport, a ritual where human skill, divine will, and the fate of the cosmos intertwined. As you settle deeper into the calm of this tale, let's step into the world of the ballgame, where the Maya played for honor, glory, and the balance of the universe. Picture the court, its eye-shaped arena paved with smooth limestone, flanked by sloping walls that echo with the shouts of spectators. The crowd gathers, their faces painted with vibrant hues, their voices rising in a chant that pulses like a heartbeat. At the center of the court, two teams of players, their bodies adorned with padded belts and jade ornaments, prepare for a game that is both a physical trial and a sacred act. The ball, made of solid rubber from the sap of the Castilla tree, is heavy, sometimes weighing as much as a small child, and its bounce is unpredictable, a challenge that tests the player's strength and agility. Imagine the tension as the game begins, the ball launched into play with a strike from a player's hip, soaring across the court as the crowd holds its breath. The ball game, known as pits in some Maya languages, was a tradition rooted deep in Mesoamerican culture, its origins stretching back to the Olmecs centuries before. For the Maya, it was a reenactment of the cosmic struggle described in the Popol Vuh, where the hero twins, Hanapu and Exbalank, faced the lords of the underworld in a contest of skill and courage. The game was not just entertainment, but a ritual that mirrored the battle between life and death, light and darkness. The court itself was a sacred space, often aligned with celestial events, its high walls adorned with carvings of the maize god or serpents, symbols of fertility and power. Picture a relief on the wall of Chichen Itza's great ball court, showing a victorious player holding the head of a defeated opponent, a stark reminder that the stakes of the game could be life itself. The rules of the game were deceptively simple, yet fiercely demanding. Players could not use their hands or feet to touch the ball, striking it instead with their hips, knees, or elbows. The goal was to send the ball through a stone ring mounted high on the court's wall, a feat so difficult it was rarely achieved. Imagine a player, his muscles taut, diving to keep the ball in play, his body bruised, but his spirit unbroken. The game could last for hours, the players moving with a grace that belied the brutality of the contest, their movements a dance that honored the gods. Spectators cheered, their voices rising with each near miss, their excitement a communal offering to the divine. The ball game was a spectacle that united the city, from commoners to kings. Nobles and priests watched from elevated platforms, their headdresses glittering with quetzal feathers, while farmers and artisans crowded the edges, their cheers mingling with the rhythmic beat of drums. Kings themselves sometimes played, their participation a display of divine strength, their victories etched into stele as proof of their favor with the gods. Picture a king, perhaps Kainish Janub Pakal of Palunk, stepping onto the court, his presence commanding silence, his skill a testament to his right to rule. The game was a way to settle disputes, forge alliances, or assert dominance, its outcome seen as a verdict from the heavens. Yet, the ball game carried a darker significance. In some cases, it culminated in sacrifice. The defeated players, or captives taken in war, offered to the gods to ensure cosmic balance. Imagine the solemn moment after a game, the crowd falling silent as a priest raises a flint knife, the air heavy with the scent of copal incense. The sacrifice was not cruelty, but a sacred act, the blood of the players nourishing the gods, just as the gods had given their own essence to create humanity. Not every game ended this way, but the possibility hung over the court, a reminder of the stakes that bound the Maya to their spiritual world. The ball court was more than a place of play. It was a microcosm of the Maya universe. Its walls, often aligned with the solstices or the path of Venus, connected the game to the cosmos. The ball itself symbolized the sun or moon, its movement through the court a reflection of celestial cycles. Imagine the awe of a child watching her first game, her eyes wide as she sees the players as warriors of myth, their actions echoing the hero twins' triumph. The ball game was a story told through sweat and stone, a ritual that brought the Maya closer to their gods and to each other. As you drift deeper into the quiet of this night, picture the ball court at dusk, the game over, the crowd dispersing into the jungle's embrace. The stone ring looms silently, its shadow stretching across the court like a promise of future contests. The players, exhausted but proud, return to their homes, their bodies marked by the game, but their spirits lifted by its meaning. But beyond the court, another kind of labor sustained the Maya cities, a quiet ingenuity that turned the jungle into a garden. What secrets did the Maya unlock to feed their growing cities? As the night settles over you like a soft blanket, imagine standing at the edge of a Maya city like Tikal, around 700 CE, where the jungle parts to reveal fields of golden maize swaying under a crescent moon. The air carries the earthy scent of turned soil and the faint murmur of water flowing through hidden channels. This is the green heart of the Maya world, where their ingenuity transformed the challenging jungle into a bountiful garden that fed thriving cities. The Maya were not just builders of stone or watchers of stars. They were masters of the land, coaxing life from the earth with a wisdom that sustained their civilization for centuries. As you drift toward the calm of sleep, let's wander through the fields and forests, where the Maya's agricultural innovations wove a delicate balance with the jungle's rhythms. The jungle, with its dense canopy and unpredictable rains, was no easy partner, but the Maya learned its ways with the patience of those who listened to the earth. Their primary crop was maize, the sacred heart of their diet and their myths, believed to be the substance from which the gods crafted humanity. Picture a farmer, his hands calloused from years of labor, planting maize kernels in a small clearing, the soil enriched by ash from controlled burns. This slash and burn technique, known as milpa, was a cornerstone of Maya agriculture, allowing them to clear jungle patches without breaking the land's spirit. They rotated fields, letting the forest reclaim them for years to renew the soil, a practice that showed their deep respect for the cycles of nature. But the Maya's genius went beyond these humble plots. In the lowlands, where rains could be scarce or overwhelming, they developed sophisticated systems to manage water and soil. Imagine walking along a raised field, a chinampa, its edges bordered by canals that gleam like silver in the sunlight. These fields, built in swampy areas, allowed the Maya to farm year-round. Their crops maize, beans, squash, and chili, thriving in the rich, moist soil. The canals not only irrigated the fields, but also supported fish and aquatic plants, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem. Picture a family working together, the father dredging mud from the canal to fertilize the field, the mother planting beans to climb the maize stalks, their children gathering water lilies to add to the evening meal. Water was the lifeblood of the Maya, and in the karst landscapes of the Yucatan, where rivers were few, they turned to the gifts of the earth, cenotes, natural sinkholes filled with crystal clear water. These were not just sources of drinking water, but sacred portals, revered as gateways to the underworld. Imagine a cenote near Chichen Itza, its surface reflecting the stars, surrounded by stone steps where priests offer maize and jade to the rain god Chak. The Maya built reservoirs and channels to capture and store rainwater, their stone-lined cisterns hidden beneath plazas, ensuring their cities could thrive even in dry seasons. Picture a young boy, his arms strong from carrying jars, filling them from a reservoir to water his family's crops, his laughter echoing through the city. The Maya also mastered terracing, carving steps into the hilly landscapes of the highlands to create flat fields that held the soil against erosion. Imagine a terrace in the hills of Capan, its stone walls moss-covered, supporting rows of cacao trees, their pods glowing red and yellow. Cacao was more than a crop. It was a sacred gift, ground into a frothy drink for rituals and trade, its value rivaling jade. The Mayas' agricultural innovations allowed them to grow diverse crops: avocados, tomatoes, manioc, and cotton, each chosen to complement the others, ensuring food security and resilience. Picture a market stall, vibrant with the colors of fresh produce, where farmers trade surplus squash for a neighbor's woven cloth, their exchange a thread in the city's communal fabric. This ingenuity extended to their tools and techniques. The Maya used digging sticks and stone hoes, their simplicity belying their effectiveness in the jungle's dense soil. They developed polyculture, planting multiple crops together to mimic the jungle's diversity, which protected against pests and enriched the soil. Imagine a milpa field, maize stalks rising tall, beans twining around them, and squash spreading at their base, a living harmony that fed both body and soul. Women played a vital role, not just in planting, but in selecting seeds, their knowledge of which varieties thrived passed down through generations. Picture a grandmother teaching her granddaughter to choose the best maize kernels, her voice soft with stories of the ancestors who first tamed the land. Yet, agriculture was not just labor. It was a spiritual act. The Maya saw their fields as sacred spaces, offerings to the gods who gave them maize. Farmers performed rituals before planting, burning incense and chanting to ensure a good harvest. Imagine a ceremony at the edge of a field, the air thick with copal smoke, as a priest buries a small jade figurine to honor the earth. These rituals tied the Maya to their land, reinforcing their belief that they were stewards, not masters, of the jungle's bounty. Their innovations allowed cities like Tikal to support tens of thousands, their granaries filled with maize that sustained both the living and the gods through offerings. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, picture a Maya farmer standing in his field at twilight, the air cool, the maize rustling softly. He looks to the sky, where the stars mark the time to plant or harvest, his life woven into the rhythms of earth and cosmos. The city thrives because of his labor, but beyond the fields, rivalries simmer between great cities, their kings vying for power in a world of shifting alliances. What struggles shaped the Maya's golden age, and how did their kings navigate the tides of war? As the night folds you into its quiet embrace, imagine standing on a hill overlooking a Maya city like Calakmul, around 700 CE, where the jungle stretches endlessly under a sky streaked with the first stars. Below, the city hums with purpose, its pyramids rising like sentinels. But beyond its borders, the air carries the faint echo of conflict, drums beating, warriors preparing for battle. The Maya world, for all its beauty and wisdom, was not a place of unbroken peace. It was a mosaic of city-states, each ruled by a divine king, their ambitions clashing in a dance of power and rivalry that shaped the classic period's golden age. As you sink deeper into this soothing tale, let's walk through the shadowed paths of Maya warfare, where honor, sacrifice, and strategy wove a story of triumph and loss. The Maya cities, scattered across the jungles of Mesoamerica, were not a unified empire, but a constellation of independent states, each vying for dominance. Imagine the great powers of Tikal and Calakmul, their rulers locked in a centuries-long struggle for supremacy, their alliances shifting like the tides. These were not wars of conquest in the modern sense, but campaigns to assert influence, secure tribute, and capture prisoners for sacrifice. Picture a king, perhaps Yikin Chan Awil of Tikal, standing in his palace, his advisors poring over maps carved into wood, plotting a raid against a rival city. His headdress glitters with jade, but his eyes are sharp with resolve, knowing the gods demand victory to maintain cosmic balance. Warfare was a sacred act, as much a ritual as the ballgame or blood offerings. Warriors, drawn from the noble and common classes, trained from youth to wield spears, atlatls, and obsidian-tipped clubs called macuahuitls, their edges sharp enough to cleave bone. Imagine a young warrior, his body painted with black and red stripes, donning a jaguar skin cape that marks him as an elite fighter. He carries a shield adorned with the face of the sun god, Inish Ajo, believing it will protect him in battle. These warriors fought not just for their king, but for their city's honor. Their victories celebrated on stele that proclaimed their prowess to the gods and future generations. Battles were often swift and brutal, waged in the jungle's narrow paths or open clearings. Picture a clash near Dos Pilas, where warriors from Tikal ambush a rival force from Calakmul. The air fills with the whistle of darts launched from atlatls, the clash of wooden clubs, and the cries of the wounded. The Maya fought with strategy, using the terrain to their advantage, ambushing from dense thickets or luring enemies into swamps. Capturing prisoners was often the goal, especially nobles or rival kings, whose blood would be offered to the gods in grand ceremonies. Imagine a captured warrior, bound with ropes, led through Tikal's plaza, his fate sealed as the crowd chants, their voices a prayer for divine favor. These wars were driven by more than territorial gain. They were fueled by the need to secure resources, cacao, jade, feathers, and to assert a city's divine mandate. Kings like Bajlaj Chan Awil of Dos Pilas allied with Calakmul to challenge Tikal's dominance, their battles recorded in glyphs that tell of shifting alliances and betrayals. Picture a stela in Naranjo, its carvings depicting a victorious queen, Lady Six Sky, leading her warriors to triumph, her city's power bolstered by captives and tribute. These inscriptions were not just records, but propaganda, meant to inspire awe and fear, cementing a ruler's legacy in stone. The cost of war was heavy, not just in lives, but in the strain on cities. Armies needed food, weapons, and supplies, drawn from the same fields that fed the people. Imagine a farmer, his hands still dusted with soil, watching as his surplus maize is carried off to support a campaign. Yet war also brought glory, with victorious kings erecting new temples and commissioning elaborate art to celebrate their triumphs. Defeat, however, could be catastrophic. Cities like Dos Pilas were abandoned after crushing losses, their plazas left to the jungle's embrace. The Maya believed that a king's failure in war was a sign of the gods' displeasure, shaking the faith of the people. Diplomacy often tempered warfare, with marriages and alliances weaving cities together. Picture a royal wedding in Yaxchilan, where a princess from one city weds a king from another, her dowry of cacao and textiles sealing a pact of peace. These alliances were fragile, easily broken by ambition or betrayal. Yet they allowed the Maya world to flourish despite its conflicts. The great cities traded goods and ideas, their rivalries pushing them to new heights of art, architecture, and innovation. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine a warrior returning home, his body weary, but his spirit lifted by victory. The city celebrates, its plaza alight with torches, the air filled with the scent of copal and the sound of drums. Yet, even as the Maya reveled in their triumphs, a shadow loomed over their golden age. The jungles that sustained them began to whisper of change, of challenges that would test their resilience. What forces could unravel the brilliance of their cities, and how did the Maya face the gathering storm? As the night cloaks you in its serene embrace, imagine standing atop a crumbling pyramid in a once thriving Maya city like Tikal, around 900 CE. The jungle, ever watchful, creeps closer, its vines curling around stones that once gleamed under the sun. The air is heavy with the scent of damp earth, and the silence is profound, broken only by the distant call of a howler monkey. This is the twilight of the classic Maya, a time when the great cities of the southern lowlands began to fade, their plazas emptying, their temples left to the mercy of time. The collapse of these vibrant centers is one of history's great mysteries, a puzzle woven from environmental, social, and spiritual threads. As you drift into the calm of this tale, let's explore the enigma of the classic collapse, where the Maya faced challenges that tested the very heart of their civilization. The classic period, from 250 to 900 CE, was the Maya's golden age, a time when cities like Palenque, Capan, and Calakmul reached their zenith, their pyramids touching the stars, their kings wielding divine power. Picture Tikal at its peak, its plazas bustling with traders, artisans, and priests, its fields lush with maize, its rulers carving their triumphs into stone. Yet, by the late 8th century, signs of strain began to appear. Stele, once crowded with glyphs celebrating victories, grew sparse. Construction slowed, and the great cities, one by one, began to quiet. Imagine a plaza in Dos Pilas, once vibrant with life, now overgrown with weeds, its people gone, their footsteps swallowed by the jungle. What caused this decline? The answer lies in a delicate balance that the Maya had long maintained with their world. The jungle, for all its abundance, was a demanding partner. Its thin soils, depleted by years of farming, struggled to support growing populations. The Maya's milpa agriculture, while sustainable for smaller communities, strained under the weight of cities housing tens of thousands. Picture a farmer, his fields yielding less each year, his family hungry despite his labor. Droughts, which struck with increasing frequency in the 8th and 9th centuries, worsened the crisis. Studies of lake sediments reveal periods of severe aridity, when rains failed and cenotes dried, leaving reservoirs empty. Imagine a priest standing before a silent crowd, offering sacrifices to Chalk, the rain god, only to see the skies remain clear. These environmental stresses were compounded by human choices. The Maya's great cities competed fiercely, their wars draining resources and manpower. Imagine a king like Yak's Passage, Chan Yapat of Kapan, commissioning ever grander temples to assert his power, even as his people struggled to feed themselves. The elite's demands for tribute, cacao jade, feathers, strained farmers and artisans, whose labor sustained the cities. Deforestation, as trees were felled for fields and lime to plaster pyramids, altered the landscape, making droughts more devastating. Picture a once lush valley near Calakmul, now barren, its soils eroded, its streams reduced to trickles. Social unrest may have also played a role. The divine kings, whose authority rested on their connection to the gods, faced growing doubt as crises mounted. If the rains failed or crops withered, the people might question the king's divine favor. Imagine a plaza in Tikal, where murmurs of discontent ripple through the crowd as a harvest fails. The once revered king, now a symbol of broken promises. Some scholars suggest rebellions or migrations, as commoners left overburdened cities for smaller settlements, seeking a simpler life. Others point to disease, carried through trade routes, weakening populations already stretched thin. Yet the collapse was not universal. While the southern lowlands, home to Tikal, Kapan, and Palenque, saw their cities fade, northern cities like Chichen Itza thrived, suggesting a shift rather than an end. The Maya adapted, their resilience a testament to their ingenuity. Imagine families leaving a declining city, carrying seeds and tools, rebuilding in new lands where the jungle offered fresh opportunities. The glyphs, though fewer, continued to be carved, telling of kings who ruled smaller domains, their stories a whisper of the past's glory. The collapse was not a single event, but a slow unraveling, a tapestry fraying at the edges. Some cities, like Dos Pilas, were abandoned swiftly after defeats in war, their stones left to crumble. Others, like Tikal, faded gradually, their populations dwindling over decades. Picture a final ceremony in a half-empty city, a priest burning copal as the last families depart, their footsteps fading into the jungle. The causes: drought, overpopulation, warfare, societal strain wove together, each a thread in the story of decline. Yet the Maya's spirit endured, their knowledge preserved in the stones they left behind, waiting for future generations to decipher. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, imagine the quiet of an abandoned city, its pyramids standing like silent guardians, the jungle reclaiming what was once its own. The Maya of the southern lowlands faced a turning point, but their story was far from over. In the north, new cities rose, their brilliance a testament to the Maya's ability to adapt and endure. What new chapter awaited in the post-classic period? And how did the Maya reshape their world in the face of change? As the night wraps you in its tranquil hush, imagine standing on the edge of a vast plaza in Chichen Itza, around 1000 CE, where the air hums with the renewed energy of a Maya civilization reborn. The jungle, ever present, frames the city. But here, under a sky painted with twilight, new pyramids rise, their stones gleaming with fresh purpose. The collapse of the classic cities in the southern lowlands left a void, but the Maya, resilient as the maze that sustained them, wove a new chapter in the northern Yucatan and beyond. This is the post-classic period, a time of revival and transformation, where the Maya adapted to a changing world with ingenuity and vision. As you sink into the soothing rhythm of this tale, let's wander through the vibrant streets of a reborn Maya world, where old traditions mingled with new horizons. The southern cities, Tikal, Capan, had faded, their plazas reclaimed by the jungle. But in the north, places like Chichen Itza and Mayapan emerged as beacons of a new era. Picture Chichen Itza at its height, its great ball court echoing with the cheers of spectators, its temple of Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god, casting shadows that align with the equinox sun, drawing gasps from gathered crowds. This was a city of bold ambition, its architecture blending Maya traditions with influences from distant cultures, perhaps the Toltecs, whose myths of serpents and warriors echoed in the stones. The Maya were not merely surviving, they were reimagining their world, their cities pulsing with trade, art, and spiritual fervor. Chichen Itza was a crossroads, a melting pot where ideas and goods flowed like the waters of its sacred cenote. Imagine walking through its marketplace, where merchants from across Mesoamerica barter turquoise from the north, obsidian from the highlands, and salt from the coast. The air is alive with voices speaking Yucatec Maya, mixed with tongues from far-off lands, as traders exchange cacao for feathers or cotton for shells. The city's rulers, no longer claiming divine kingship in the same way as their classic predecessors, governed with a council of nobles, their power rooted in commerce and alliances. Picture a noble, his cloak adorned with quetzal plumes, negotiating a trade deal that strengthens Chichen Itza's influence, his eyes sharp with the knowledge that wealth, not just blood, now shapes the Maya world. The post-classic Maya adapted to their environment with the same ingenuity that had sustained their ancestors. In the Yucatan, where the limestone plain offered few rivers, they relied on cenotes and built choltons, underground cisterns, to capture rainwater. Imagine a family drawing water from the sacred cenote, its depths shimmering with offerings of jade and gold, cast into the water to honor Chak, the rain god. Agriculture thrived, with maize, beans, and squash grown in raised fields, their yields supporting cities that rivaled the classic giants. Picture a farmer, his hands guiding a digging stick, planting seeds in soil enriched by centuries of knowledge. His work, a quiet testament to the Maya's enduring bond with the earth. Art and architecture took on new forms, reflecting a world in transition. The Temple of Kukulkan, with its precise alignment to the sun, was a marvel of engineering and symbolism. Twice a year, during the equinoxes, the shadow of a serpent slithers down its steps, a living embodiment of Kukulkan descending to earth. Imagine standing among the crowd, your breath catching as the shadow moves, a moment that feels like a whisper from the gods. The ballgame, still central to Maya life, grew even more elaborate, with courts like Chichen Itza's, the largest in Mesoamerica, hosting games that drew visitors from distant lands. Carvings on the court's walls depict players and sacrifices, their vivid imagery a reminder of the game's sacred stakes. Spirituality, too, evolved, blending ancient beliefs with new influences. The post-classic Maya revered gods like Kukulkan, whose feathered serpent imagery linked them to broader Mesoamerican traditions. Rituals became more public, with ceremonies held in open plazas rather than secluded temples. Picture a festival at Mayapan, where dancers in feathered cloaks move to the rhythm of drums, their steps honoring the gods of rain and harvest. Offerings to cenotes grew more lavish, with gold and copper, metals new to the Maya, joining jade in the sacred waters. These acts were not just devotion, but a way to unify a diverse society, where traders, warriors, and farmers shared a common purpose. Yet, this revival was not without challenges. The post-classic world was more fragmented, with city-states like Mayapan vying for power through trade and warfare. Imagine a skirmish near Uxmal, warriors clashing over control of a trade route, their obsidian blades glinting in the sun. Alliances were fragile, and cities rose and fell as rivalries flared. Mayapan, a walled city, briefly united the northern Maya under a confederation, but internal strife led to its decline by the 15th century. Picture a noble fleeing a burning city, his family carrying only what they can hold, their footsteps echoing the migrations of the classic collapse. Despite these tensions, the post-classic Maya thrived, their culture adapting to a world of new connections. They traded with the Aztecs and others, their cities linked by coastal routes and jungle paths. Their resilience was a testament to their ability to balance tradition with innovation, to honor the past while embracing the future. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine the glow of Chichen Itza at dusk, its pyramids standing proud, its people weaving a new story from the threads of their ancestors. But a greater challenge loomed on the horizon, one that would test the Maya's strength like never before. What happened when strangers from across the sea arrived, bringing a clash of worlds? As the night cradles you in its gentle stillness, imagine standing on the shores of the Yucatan around 1519 CE, where the turquoise waves lap against a coast fringed with mangroves. The air is warm, heavy with salt, and the scent of blooming ceiba trees. But a new sound carries on the breeze, the creak of wooden ships and the murmur of unfamiliar voices. These are the Spanish, strangers from across the sea, their arrival marking a collision of worlds that would forever alter the Maya story. The post-classic Maya, vibrant in cities like Mayapan and thriving through trade and resilience, now faced a challenge unlike any before. As you drift into the soothing rhythm of this tale, let's walk through the turbulent days of the Spanish conquest, where courage, loss, and defiance shaped the Maya's final chapter in their ancient homeland. Picture a Maya fisherman, his canoe gliding through coastal waters, spotting the strange vessels with towering sails, unlike any he has seen. The men aboard wear metal armor that glints in the sun, their faces pale, their weapons gleaming with an unknown sheen. These were the Spanish, led by men like Hernan Cortés, who landed on the Yucatan in 1519, drawn by tales of gold and glory. The Maya, accustomed to trade with distant peoples, at first greeted them with curiosity, offering maize and jade in exchange for beads and mirrors. Imagine a meeting in a coastal village, a Maya leader standing tall, his headdress adorned with quetzal feathers, facing a Spanish captain, their words translated through gestures and intermediaries, each side wary yet intrigued. But curiosity soon turned to conflict. The Spanish came not just to trade, but to conquer, driven by a hunger for wealth and a mission to spread their faith. They saw the Maya's temples, with their carvings of gods and glyphs, as pagan idols to be toppled. Picture a plaza in Chichen Itza, where a Spanish priest smashes a stela, its glyphs shattered, while Maya onlookers watch in stunned silence, their sacred history defiled. The Spanish brought muskets, horses, and steel, tools of war the Maya had never faced. Yet, the Maya were no strangers to battle. Warriors, armed with obsidian-tipped spears and atlatls, resisted fiercely, their knowledge of the jungle giving them an edge in ambushes. Imagine a skirmish in the dense forest, Maya warriors melting into the trees, their darts raining down on armored invaders unused to the heat and terrain. The conquest was not a single battle, but a prolonged struggle, stretching over decades. The northern Yucatan, with its open plains, fell more quickly to Spanish control, but the southern highlands and dense jungles became strongholds of resistance. Picture the Itza Maya, centered at Tezel on Lake Bedtime, holding out until 1697. Their city, a bastion of defiance. Their leader, Can Ek, negotiated with the Spanish, offering tribute to delay invasion. But when the soldiers came, the Itza fought with a ferocity born of love for their way of life. Imagine a final stand on the lake shores, warriors in canoes launching volleys of arrows, their chants rising to honor their gods, even as the Spanish closed in. The Spanish brought more than weapons. They brought diseases, smallpox, influenza, that swept through Maya communities like a silent storm. Without immunity, entire villages perished, their fields left untended, their rituals silenced. Picture a once bustling plaza in a small Maya town, now eerily quiet, the air heavy with grief as survivors mourn their kin. The Spanish also imposed their religion, burning codices and forcing conversions. Yet the Maya wove their old beliefs into the new, praying to Christian saints while whispering to Chalk and Kukulkan. Imagine a Maya woman, her cross necklace glinting, secretly placing maize offerings at a hidden shrine, her faith a bridge between worlds. Despite the devastation, the Maya resisted in ways both bold and subtle. Some, like the rebels of the caste war in the 19th century, took up arms, their descendants fighting for autonomy long after the conquest. Others preserved their culture through oral traditions, passing down stories of the Popol Vuh in quiet gatherings. Picture an elder, his voice soft but steady, recounting the hero twins' tale to children by firelight, ensuring their heritage endures. The Spanish built colonial cities like Merida atop Maya ruins, but the glyphs carved into hidden stones whispered of a past that refused to fade. The conquest reshaped the Maya world, but it did not erase it. Their languages, Yucatec, Kayich, Tzotzil, continued to be spoken. Their markets still traded maize and cacao. Their festivals blended old rituals with new. Imagine a Maya family in a colonial village, weaving textiles with ancient patterns, their hands keeping alive the artistry of their ancestors. The resilience of the Maya was their greatest strength, a quiet defiance that carried their culture through centuries of change. As you drift closer to the edge of sleep, picture the shores of the Yucatan at dusk, the Spanish ships fading into the horizon, the jungle reclaiming its silence. The Maya faced a world transformed, yet their spirit endured, woven into the lives of their descendants. Who are the Maya today? And how do they carry the legacy of their ancient cities into the modern world? As the night enfolds you in its peaceful hush, imagine standing in a modern Maya village in Guatemala, where the morning mist clings to the highlands, and the air carries the scent of maize roasting over an open fire. It's 2025, centuries removed from the towering pyramids of Chichen Itza, or the bustling plazas of Tikal. Yet the heartbeat of the Maya endures in the voices, hands, and hearts of their descendants. The Spanish conquest and the centuries that followed brought profound change. But the Maya, with their unyielding resilience, have woven their ancient traditions into the fabric of the present, creating a living legacy that speaks of survival and pride. As you drift into the soothing calm of this tale, let's wander through the vibrant world of the modern Maya, where the past and present dance in harmony. Picture a market in Chichicastenango, its streets alive with color and sound, where vendors, many from Kayich or Kakshikal communities, offer textiles woven with patterns that echo the glyphs of ancient stele. The cloth, dyed with indigo and cochineal, carries designs of serpents, stars, and maize, each thread a story passed down through generations. A woman, her fingers deft as she weaves on a backstrap loom, creates a hewable, a traditional blouse, its intricate patterns a testament to her ancestors' artistry. Her work is not just craft, but a declaration of identity, a way to honor the gods and the land that have sustained her people for millennia. Imagine her smile as she hands the hewable to a buyer, knowing it carries the spirit of the Maya into the world. The Maya today, numbering over 6 million across Guatemala, Mexico, Belize, and parts of Honduras and El Salvador, speak more than 30 languages, each a thread in the tapestry of their heritage. Yucatec, Kayich, Quechua, and others ring out in homes, markets, and festivals, their words carrying the cadence of ancient scribes. Picture a classroom in a rural village where a teacher instructs children in both Spanish and Tzotzil, ensuring their language endures. The children learn the stories of the Papalva, the hero twins' triumph retold in a circle under a ceiba tree, their laughter mingling with the wisdom of their elders. These languages are not relics, but living bridges, connecting the Maya to their past while shaping their future. Spirituality remains a cornerstone of Maya life, a blend of ancient beliefs and Christian influences woven into a vibrant whole. Imagine a ceremony in the highlands where a Maya shaman or adjkij burns copal incense before an altar of maize and candles, offering prayers to both Catholic saints and the gods of rain and harvest. The community gathers, their faces lit by firelight, as the shaman reads the cycles of the Tzolk'in calendar to guide decisions about planting or healing. These rituals, held in sacred sites like caves or hilltops, echo the practices of classic priests, their continuity a quiet defiance of centuries of suppression. Picture a young man, his heart full, placing a small offering of flowers at a cenote, honoring the ancestors who watch over his village. Agriculture, the green heart of the ancient Maya, remains vital today in communities across Chiapas and the Yucatan. Families tend milpa fields, planting maize, beans, and squash in the same polycultural harmony their ancestors perfected. Imagine a farmer in Belize, his hands guiding a digging stick, teaching his son the rhythms of the seasons, just as his grandfather did. These fields are more than sustenance. They are a connection to the maize god, a reminder that the earth is sacred. Some Maya now blend traditional methods with modern techniques, using organic farming to preserve their land while meeting new demands. Picture a cooperative in Guatemala, where farmers share knowledge about sustainable crops, their efforts ensuring the jungle remains a partner, not a foe. The Maya have also embraced modernity while holding fast to their identity. In cities like San Cristobal de las Casas, Maya artisans sell their crafts online, their textiles and pottery reaching global markets. Imagine a young woman, her smartphone in hand, posting images of her beadwork, each piece inspired by ancient designs, connecting her village to the world. Education and activism have empowered Maya communities to advocate for their rights, preserving their languages, lands, and traditions. Picture a rally in Guatemala City, where Maya leaders, dressed in traditional clothing, demand recognition of their heritage, their voices echoing the resilience of their forebears. Festivals are a vibrant expression of Maya culture, blending old and new. Imagine the Day of the Dead in a Yucatan village, where families build altars adorned with marigolds, maize, and photos of loved ones, their offerings a bridge to the ancestors. Dancers in feathered costumes move to the beat of drums, their steps recalling the rituals of Chichen Itza. These celebrations are not just tradition, but a celebration of survival, a way to honor the past while embracing the present. Picture children laughing as they paint their faces, their joy a testament to the Mayas' enduring spirit. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine a Maya elder in a quiet village, her eyes tracing the stars, her voice recounting the stories of her people. The jungle around her hums with life, its rhythms unchanged from the days of Tikal and Palenque. The Maya today carry their ancestors' legacy, not in stone, but in their languages, their rituals, their resilience. But why does this ancient civilization still capture our hearts? What lessons do their story hold for us all? As the night wraps you in its velvet calm, imagine standing beneath a starlit sky in the heart of the Maya world, where the jungle whispers secrets of a civilization that has endured for millennia. The air is soft, carrying the faint scent of copal and the distant murmur of a modern Maya village, where the voices of the past still speak through the lives of the present. The story of the Maya, from their jungle origins to their towering cities, from their cosmic wisdom to their resilient survival, is more than a history. It's a testament to the human spirit, a legacy that resonates across time. As you drift toward the gentle edge of sleep, let's reflect on why the Maya matter, their lessons illuminating our world as brightly as the stars they once charted. Picture the ruins of Tikal, its pyramids rising through the jungle canopy, their stones weathered but unyielding, each one a silent witness to the Maya's brilliance. They built cities that rivaled any in the ancient world, not with machines, but with hands guided by vision and faith. Their calendars, precise as the turning of the heavens, mapped time with an accuracy that astonishes modern scholars. Imagine a Maya astronomer, his eyes fixed on Venus, calculating its cycle centuries before telescopes, his knowledge etched into glyphs that still speak of their ingenuity. This was a people who saw the universe as a living story, their place within it a sacred responsibility, a perspective that invites us to look at our own world with wonder and care. The Mayas' art, from the vibrant murals of Bonampak to the intricate carvings of Palenque, was not mere decoration, but a dialogue with the divine. Each stela, each painted vessel, told a story of gods, kings, and the cycles of life, crafted with a love that transcended generations. Picture a scribe, his reed pen tracing glyphs by torchlight, knowing his words would carry his people's truth into the future. Their art reminds us that beauty is a bridge between the human and the eternal, a way to find meaning in the chaos of existence. In our fast-paced world, where fleeting trends often overshadow lasting truths, the Mayas' devotion to their craft urges us to create with purpose, to leave behind something that endures. Their resilience, too, is a lesson that echoes through time. The Maya faced drought, war, and conquest, yet they adapted, their culture evolving through centuries of challenge. Imagine the Itza Maya at Tezel, holding out against the Spanish until 1697, their defiance, a fire that refused to be extinguished. Today, their descendants weave textiles, speak ancient languages, and honor their gods, proving that identity can survive even the greatest upheavals. Picture a Maya elder in a Guatemalan village, teaching her grandchildren the Tzolk'in calendar, her voice a thread connecting past to present. This resilience speaks to us all, a reminder that strength lies not in avoiding hardship, but in finding ways to grow through it, to carry forward what matters most. The Mayas' harmony with the earth offers perhaps their most urgent lesson. They thrived in a demanding jungle, their milpa fields and cenote-fed reservoirs a testament to their respect for the land's rhythms. Imagine a farmer, his hands planting maize, his prayers thanking the earth for its gifts. Their environmental wisdom, balancing human needs with nature's cycles, contrasts with our modern struggles, climate change, deforestation, resource depletion. The Mayas' collapse in the southern lowlands, driven partly by environmental stress, is a cautionary tale, urging us to listen to our planet, to find sustainable ways to live within its limits. Yet their revival in the post-classic period shows that adaptation is possible, that we can learn from mistakes and forge a new path. Their spirituality, too, holds a mirror to our own search for meaning. The Maya saw the cosmos as a web of connections, where every star, every tree, every human life was part of a greater whole. Picture a priest burning copal before a cenote, his chants weaving earth and sky into a single story. This worldview invites us to see our lives as interconnected, to find purpose in our relationships with each other and the world around us. In an age often marked by division, the Mayas' belief in unity between people, nature, and the divine offers a gentle nudge to seek common ground, to build communities rooted in shared values. As you drift closer to sleep, imagine walking through a Maya ruin at dawn. The stones cool beneath your feet, the jungle alive with the songs of birds. The Maya matter because their story is our story, a tale of human creativity, resilience, and the search for meaning. Their cities may stand silent, but their legacy lives in the languages spoken, the fields planted, the rituals performed by their descendants. They remind us that we, too, are part of a larger narrative, our actions shaping the future as surely as theirs shaped the past. What will our own legacy be? What stories will we carve into the stones of tomorrow? Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history of the Maya civilization. As you close your eyes, let the echoes of their world, its pyramids, its stars, its enduring spirit carry you into a restful sleep. Good night.